sponsored by Expert Series. Today we have Wanita Fourie from the Online Business Academy and producer of the Social Media Conference to answer your social media burning questions. Hi, Wanita.
Hi, Jen. Thank you for having me here.
My pleasure. Now let's start off with the questions from our community. Now, for any business, if they don't have no social presence at all, is there any social channel that you would recommend to them to start off with?
So, Jen, I think it's really important to understand who your audience is first. Is it just face-to-face customers? Is it online customers? Is it businesses? And whatever your audience is, that's where you will choose your channel. For me, if you have, say, for example, a beauty salon or you have a photography business, Facebook works really well, and so does Instagram. But if you have a business-to-business business, then social channels like LinkedIn work really well. So you really do need to find out where your audience is hanging out. Where's your customer?
Okay. And where your customers, based on your experience or your clients, do they always have to start off with Facebook? Because it seems that everyone's saying, oh, Facebook has billions and billions of users, so they should actually have a page on Facebook. Do you agree?
Facebook is really great for helping you to be found on internet searches, so like Google and Bing. If you do have a page, it does help you to be found. But not necessarily. You can be found on LinkedIn. So if you set up, for example, if you are a business-to-business company and you set up a really good LinkedIn profile, you should be found quite well as well. It's all about keywords and positioning yourself correctly online.
Okay. Now, since we're on the topic of Facebook, the ever wonderful Facebook, the mammoth of the platform, so let's go to content. How often would you recommend businesses or people to post on their page?
So if we talk about Facebook specifically, I'd say to you at a minimum, at least once a day. That's at a minimum. Generally, I'd say to you, if you're posting about 3 times a day, that's pretty good, because the news feed in Facebook changes over every 2 hours. Now, you've got to remember that not everybody is on Facebook, but it's not so much the amount that you're posting, it's more about the quality of your content. I mean, you can post absolute rubbish and you'll have people, just clicking off and not being interested in your information at all. So make sure that your content is good when you post as well, and be visible.
Okay, that's great. And that's, of course, across all social networks. Or
Yeah.
is there anything specifically like Google Plus or LinkedIn, like a best practice?
So, for example, Twitter, you would post a lot more because it's really short bursts of tweets. You can link, so some people go, don't link Facebook or any of your other channels back to Twitter. I'd say you can do that as long as you're going back into Twitter and doing some little posts yourself. Some people post about 25 times a day on Twitter, but it does depend on your strategy and it does depend on what's working for you and your business.
Okay, let's move into communities. So joining groups, I'm sure, I myself have, so many groups in my
Yeah.
Facebook account. So what are your thoughts of, what's the point of joining any social media group anyway, whether it's in LinkedIn or on Facebook, for example?
I think it's one of the best ways for you to build your presence, and it's one of the best ways for you to build your expertise is within a group. So if you're finding groups, that you've got to be really specific about the groups that you're looking for. Are you looking for groups, for example, from an audience perspective, where you want to build your clientele? Or are you looking for groups where you want to build your own expertise and your own self-development? So your groups do depend, and depending on what you want to do, your strategy in your groups will depend on how you interact in those groups. But for example, I joined a Facebook group about 3-4 years ago, and the group itself, the owner of the group was doing nothing in the group. And what happened is I started interacting, and eventually after 6 months became known as the expert in the group. And from there, I was picked up by somebody and invited to go and do talks overseas on social media. So it shows you that there are things that can happen if you're pretty active in a group. The other thing with groups, and a lot of people don't do this, so from a community point of view, guys, you can use the information in groups to build your ebooks, to use for content, for example, in your blogs, to use for content in your LinkedIn blogging, on your own blogs. You can use it for videos. So it's a really great place for content.
Okay, so you highly recommend everyone should actually join maybe just one group as a start.
Yeah, even if it's just one group as a start, but be active in the group. That's the main thing. Now, I don't mean active in the sense of being overbearing in a group, but certainly, it's social. That's why we call it social media. So it's about being social in your groups, and it's not about spamming. It's not about promoting your business when you're in groups. It's about being helpful. It's about giving information, and it's about getting information.
Awesome. Okay, one last question before we end. Let's go to advertising. We all know about the, frustrations over organic reach. And for
Yes.
those you out there who doesn't know what organic reach is basically, getting reach or letting people know that you exist without any advertising. So your thoughts on, let's be specific, Facebook advertising. Do they actually work?
I would say to you, yes, Facebook advertising definitely does work if you know how to do it properly. So there are little quirks and hints and tips. So for example, a lot of people will advertise, but they haven't thought about their audience, and they haven't thought about, say, for example, the country where the audience is sitting. And so they'll just put an advert out and go anybody, and they'll put a whole lot of countries in. It's the worst thing you can do because you're spreading your advertising really thinly. So to be more targeted, it also helps you to get your message out to a more targeted audience, but also Facebook then narrows it down for you, and you get better bang for your buck on the advertising. Shall I give you a little tip, Jan?
Of course.
Because we talk about boost posting, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people say, does boost posting work or doesn't it work? Again, it depends on how you're doing it and what is the post that you're boosting. So whenever you're boosting a post, make sure that you've got a call to action, something that you're doing on that post. But here's a little tip that I teach in the online academy, and it's called the Boost Posting 30-day tip. What you do is every day you boost one post, and you boost that post for $1 for 1 day. So it's $1 a day tip. So $1, 1 day, and you just let that post ride. So you put up posts that are, as I said, little calls to action. Do that for 30 days consistently, and you'll watch your whole growth on your Facebook page. It's phenomenal.
So 30 days, and I'm sorry, I'm not very good at math, but $1 a day, that should be
$30.
$30 investment
Yeah.
for a month.
Yeah. Now, obviously, $1 a day is only going to get you, depending on what you're advertising and how narrow you're honing it down. But it is only going to get you seen by about 90 to 120 people. But it's 90 to 120 people every day just for $1. It's pretty awesome. And it's a good, cheap way if you don't have, money to spend on advertising. It's a really good, cheap way of doing it. And it definitely does work.
Thank you so much, and that's the only time we have. This isn't the only video interview, of course, and we're hearing from Wanita. For those who are watching this video right now, we do have the ABE, or Answered by Expert series, going on in the next 30 days or maybe forever. Just put your comments below, of course. Join in the conversation, and we'd love to get more of your burning questions. So this is Jan Mayer, by the way. The author of the ABE series. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jan.